if a student would want to study law, what subjects do you believe would most help them to qualify to study law?
Law is all about your ability to write and articulate yourself. So I would say English is very important, Afrikaans is very important, any of our other official languages is very important because you need to be able to communicate and market yourself. Lawyers all need to market themselves. That's something I didn't know. I was a nerd in varsity. If I knew I had to market myself and liaise with people, I thought they just give you the legal matters and you do it and you're on your way. It doesn't work like that. People need to trust you and connect with you. So when you do study in high school, then choose subjects that you know you're going to do well in. This is a very competitive stream, so make sure that you can get a...
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Success in Color podcast. I hope you remember me. My name is Michelle and I'll be your host. Today we have an amazing guest with us and she'll be sharing a bit more about her career and also how you can get in touch with the information to get to that career. So today I have with me Zunurah. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi there, my name is Zunurah and I am just vibing right now.
Love it. I love it.
This is a first. So basically, I'm a corporate commercial attorney and I also specialize in intellectual property.
That's awesome. I have never heard of that, by the way. So I am very excited about today's session so you can get all of that information out of you. Okay, so firstly, we'll start with what would a typical day in the life of a commercial lawyer look like?
Okay, so commercial law, it also includes contract drafting, litigation, if contracts go wrong and people want to enforce their contracts, shareholder dispute, director disputes. Also, it also entails public law things. So public law is matters involving organs of state. So things like that. I'm just giving a rough overview in case people don't know what public law is. But basically, it largely depends on what's the top of my priority list. So if I do have matters that involve court in the week, then I would actually block out a day before, depending if it's a trial, if it's a hearing, or if I'm in arbitrations, then I'd block out 2 hours the day before to kind of handle that. But I do have a calendar and a wonderful team. You can't do this alone without a wonderful team. And then, so let me go on Monday. I try not to have meetings on a Monday unless it's urgent. So then I would look through my emails, I would do a to-do list, and I would have a meeting with my team to see, okay, how's your capacity looking? How's your capacity looking? And then we would discuss what we're going to do for the rest of the week. But every day is a bit different. Yeah.
That's so nice. Thank you so much. I almost got lost in the conversation there. You hadn't to say vibing because now I'm vibing. But that is so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I think it's just so much different because I think what we mostly hear is, criminal law. So can you maybe dive a bit into what your specific faculty of law is?
Okay, so I would largely say corporate, right? And when I say commercial, anything to do with commercial interest, that I would say, and also intellectual property. When I say intellectual property, I deal with trademark applications, copyrights, and patents, etc. Those type of things. So that's what I do. So we are mostly in high court or arbitrations. If it is magistrate court, then it depends on the size of the claim, but I mostly deal with High Court, Supreme Court of the Appeal type matters, where it involves company-related disputes. And if my clients want to kind of do any debt collecting or something, then, or if there's an interpretational issue that involves High Court, so then I would have to go to High Court because only a High Court can actually decide on things that involve the interpretation of the law. A magistrate court can't do that. Whereas with criminal law and RAF personal injury claims and stuff like that, I have had exposure to that. So I am currently working on a criminal matter, but the criminal matter is not exactly, it's a white collar crime, you know. So it's not exactly someone died. So criminal matters, you get different parts. Maybe if it's tax related or fraud or corruption's a very nice, sexy topic right now. So things like that.
Mm.
And yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
Thank you so much. And I'm also thinking, I'm glad you elaborated because
yeah.
when I think I can relate to the rest of our audience, when you hear criminal, you definitely think murder. That's all you think about. So thank you for that elaboration. Okay, so if a student would want to study law,
Yeah.
what subjects do you believe? And I say you personally, because we've obviously had a lawyer on before this, but would you believe would most help them to qualify to study law?
Law is all about your ability to write and articulate yourself. So I would say English is very important, Afrikaans is very important, any of our other official languages is very important because you need to be able to communicate and market yourself. Lawyers all need to market themselves. That's something I didn't know. I was a nerd in varsity. If I knew I had to market myself and lies with people, I thought they just give you the legal matters and you do it and you're on your way. It doesn't work like that. People need to trust you and connect with you. So when you do study in high school, then choose subjects that you know you're going to do well in. This is a very competitive stream. So make sure that you can get a high mark in English and your second additional language. Mathematics is useful in case you want to maybe switch to BCom law. So just check whether or not whatever stream you want to do in university requires math lit or pure maths. And then also any other subjects is fine. History, most people that study law tend to take history, seeing as it's an easy subject, and also many of our modules in varsity relates to studying the history of something. So if you enjoy that type of thing, then go for it. But we have so much reading to do as law students. So if you don't like reading, don't choose law. That's the first thing. We don't deal with numbers. We have accountants. The only time we deal with numbers, and this is why people don't become lawyers when we do a board exam. So after you study law, then you can go to law school and do your board exams, or you can go to law school and do your articles at another law firm, which is like a learnership, and then do your board exams. So there's one particular paper, it's called bookkeeping.
Okay.
And the people fail that so badly.
Oh man.
So I would say take pure math, to be honest. You know why? Having just a law degree does not work out for you in the job market right now. The degrees that are in demand are things like BCom law, BSc law, even BA law, so that you have some versatility. You know.
That was actually I love that you tapped into that because that's gonna be my next question. Like because you mentioned it earlier when we were having a chat. So what alternative careers to become would you suggest to becoming a lawyer?
Yeah, there's so many, eh? I would say compliance is a new sexy thing that people love doing right now. So what we do in compliance is you basically check whatever industry you're in, do they comply with the relative regulations and laws that are relative to your industry. Sorry, I'm tired. I'm
Go in.
speaking backwards. Um,
No worries.
so a good example would be in the financial services industry. If you're a compliance officer, you would check, okay, do we comply with POPI, PIA, and with what FICA and financial services industry, what's required there. I'm just giving a broad overview. But compliance is in demand right now, compliance officer roles. And with that, it would be useful to do BCom law. Then you have that exposure to business. I would say do BCom law. If you forget everything I said, do BCom law. It doesn't matter how your marks look, that you will get hired. Whereas if you just do a law degree and you're competing for articles and jobs after the fact, then they're going to check, okay, why do you have 60% for this module? And university is hard. You think getting 60% for maths is easy in high school? University, it's way worse. You don't get to see your teacher every day. Your lecturers ghost you. You're going to have to send an email. It's
Self study.
self-study in case you miss something because you have to work to pay for your studies. So yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that breakdown, and also a new like an additive to our question list, because I think definitely our kids need a bit more than just, the basis. They need to know, okay, this is something I can branch out to, for example. So our next question would be, you can tell us, based on the institution that you studied at, which what are the steps basically, and how do they get into the registration process?
I took a gap year, so my route was not traditional. I was just I couldn't get into university the traditional route, and so then I went through private institution, and then eventually I transferred to UWC. So what I would suggest is, I know in the time we're living right now, the children of today are stressed. We had it easier. They have so many things that are in their way, our economy, the violence in our communities. So just get through high school. Pass as well as you can, push yourself. Once you have passed that stage, when you're in matric, ask yourself, what am I good at? You have you have accesses to a bit more resources than we did. They have AI apps like Gemini, ChatGPT, whatever. Use those apps and ask it, okay, can you do a quiz for me based on what profession I would be good at? Something so simple, something so intimate. It can be between yourself and those particular apps. Once it tells you, okay, maybe you're good at science, maybe you want to teach kids, maybe you want to be an influencer, maybe you want to be a dancer or a nail tech, then do it. But don't feel confined to these traditional careers. On our Department of Education's website, I think they have like a spreadsheet of all the careers that are scarce skills. Look into that, check at those scarce skills and ask yourself, hey, what do I want to do? Because at the end of the day, we don't study because we love the law or we love teaching. We want money. So if you like money, because you need to survive to do the things you do like taking care of your family, going to travel, etc., then you need to be realistic. So you need to ask yourself, what am I good at? What do I want to do? Most of your life you spend at work. You can ask anyone you know that has a job. Some people used to work at places for 22 years. The company shuts down, and that skill set they acquired there cannot be fit in anywhere else. Then they're depressed. So, coming back to your question, I think the best thing they could do before even considering law is in their final year, matric, just sit down. It's fine to take a gap year, don't feel pressured, and figure out what you want to do. You're very young, guys. You can go become an air hostess, you can go work on ships, you can do so many things, learnerships. Don't rush yourself just because you think there are certain deadlines and timelines. And once you are done with that and your marks look really bad, then go do a paralegal course if you want to be in my profession, to kind of get a feel for, okay, if I don't want to study 4 years or 5 years, if you do a foundation program, study for a year and then you can go work at the firms. As a paralegal, I know so many paralegals that eventually studied law.
Hey guys, hope you're enjoying this video. Just wanted to take 2 seconds to say thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting us. And if you do find value, if you do see the impact that these videos can create, do share it, do like, do subscribe. And if you're really feeling motivated, if you want to be part of this journey with us, consider donating. There's a link below. You can do a once-off commitment, or you can get in for the long haul and support us long term. Thank you so much for supporting us. Enjoy the rest of the video.
Can you tell us a bit more about that program, the paralegal program?
Okay.
So how do they, like, basically what the criteria is to qualify for that?
Okay. So I speak under correction. When I don't like speaking without a foundation on anything. So from what I know, there are places that they can go to. I think I think Damlin. I'm not sure if they offer it still, or if they offer it all. But I know there are certain private colleges that offer Boston. Boston. There are certain private colleges that offer paralegal programs. So what we need is you get different types of paralegals. The paralegals that are in demand is conveyancing, trademark, and those type of things. So conveyancing paralegals help with the transfer of homes process and anything conveyancing related, whether it be deceased estates or when you're buying a house or selling a house. That's a simple description of that particular area of law. And the paralegals normally do the whole process. And attorneys sometimes then they consider things and they sign off on it. But paralegals are so important for that department. Some firms have 12 paralegals and 2 conveyancers.
Wow.
12 paralegals and 2 conveyancers, and the paralegals directly lies with clients. The difference between being a paralegal and a lawyer is that they have set hours. You can't expect a paralegal to work overtime. They're going to work from 8 till 4 and they're going home and they're getting paid well. Whereas with lawyers, we have targets that we have to achieve called billables. You'll hear billables if you watch Suits. The only thing that's realistic about Suits is how important their paralegals are.
Thank you for that tip, because I love Suits.
Yeah, no. See the power, Donna, and all these people.
Absolutely.
That's true. That's
Okay.
true. I won't lie. The only thing that's not true about Suits is that a file's never that small.
Serious.
It's never.
Oh gosh,
One agreement can be like 125 pages.
that's crazy.
Yes.
That is crazy.
No, if you buy a business and if my client buys a business and I have to do a due diligence, then I have to look at everything regarding the business that they're acquiring. The audited financials, how many employees do they have, the employees' contracts, every single agreement that business is entered into. So it's hectic.
That's crazy. All the while we're thinking, I know you just flip through a page and then Bob's your uncle.
No.
That's hectic. But thank you so much for all of that. And then, so once you got into your studies, which institution did you study at?
At University Free State
Okay.
and UWC. And now I'm at Stellenbosch University.
Awesome. Okay.
Yes.
So were there any funding opportunities involved, or were those all self-funded?
Yes. So I got NSFIS. I was lucky when I went to UWC. Then I got funding for my undergraduate studies, and I qualified for NSFIS. I was in NSFIS probably for a year and something. And then what I also did that's very important, even if you are on matric, wherever you want to work, whatever industry, bother those people on LinkedIn, ask them, can I job shadow you? So what I used to do is I used to do VAC work, free VAC work. I don't ask to be paid. I would go to all these different firms, and that kind of built my exposure to that industry. So I automatically knew I don't want to do criminal law. It was not for me after I did a thing there. So I got funding from the place that I did my articles at because of the VAC work program that I participated in. And then I told them about, I'm on NSFIS, etc., etc. And they're like, oh, okay. And they offered me a bursary. So you can actually get bursaries from law firms over and above NSFIS. Those are the places that ideally offer bursaries, normally the top law firms.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And then finally, are there any last words of wisdom that you'd like to offer? I know you've dropped a lot of gems, but your final gem that you think that this is crucial, like our kids need to know this.
You will succeed no matter what. That's something I wish all the things that I achieved today, I wrote it down actually. And I wrote it down. I said, no, I'll have this by this age, this by this age. It all happened, thankfully, alhamdulillah. But what I can say, be kind to yourself. I wish I was kinder to myself. I hated how hard I was on myself, but you need to be hard on yourself at the end of the day. People called me delusional when I started. I said, no, I'm going to work here. I'm going to do this. And I achieved all of that. So be a bit delusional. Don't be so hard on yourself. Be kind to yourself, but push yourself, and don't doubt yourself. Just go for whatever you want, and you will get it.
That's so
Yeah.
beautiful. And also to latch onto that spiritual aspect, in the Bible, it also says faith is the assurance of things hoped for and the conviction of things not seen. So it also speaks to your faith is based on what you have not seen. You have to believe that it can happen and it will. So to end off, thank you so much for sharing all of those beautiful tips with us, Zunurah. We loved having you here. Well, I loved having you here.
It's a pleasure.
And even that words of wisdom, I hope you guys latch onto that. You will succeed no matter what. Over and out. It was lovely to see you again. Bye for now.
Bye.
If you found this content valuable, you are more than welcome to give us a thumbs up and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also find us on TikTok as well as Instagram, where we share some more interesting content about career planning and beyond. Thank you for joining me with the Success in Color podcast. My name is Michelle, your host. Bye for now.